Since losing teammate Karl-Anthony Towns to injury, recently named first-time All-Star Anthony Edwards saw a huge spike in his usage with the ball. In that stretch, he's averaged roughly 26 points and 5 assists a game, while the Timberwolves have remained a solid, winning team. A major catalyst in these games has been the growth Edwards has shown as a legit playmaker, and to understand how he creates offense for his team, we must first take a look at how he pressures defenses as a scorer. Ant is truly a one-of-one athlete, and that's not something I say lightly. He has maybe the most explosive first step in the entire league, allowing him to blow by point of attack defenders with ease, but he's also a big, strong body who can create with power and launches off the ground for more than 40 inches on his vertical. Mobley meets him in a high pick and roll, but it's like he's not even there as Edwards turns on the jets and uses his off shoulder to move the big man out of his path before flying at the rim. His ability to beat the first line of defense so consistently draws a lot of added attention, and he'll shed defenders near the paint with the use of timely strides, using Euro steps and step throughs that, when paired with his ability to change speeds, help him get all the way to the cup. He's a relentless attacker, looking to score virtually every time he touches the ball, and if opposing defenses don't fully commit to his drives, he'll just take it all the way. After generating those paint touches, he's a really strong finisher. I already mentioned his vertical capability, flying through the air for above the rim scoring, but he's also really good at carving out angles when ducking in low. He's got great touch, going to a wide array of layups that he's able to adjust at will, using his large frame to shield the ball and protect it from shot blockers upon release. That size also helps him deal with, or even initiate added contact and still score, and this overall ability to get to the paint and consistently do damage draws tons of gravity. Help has to meet him early. Giving him space to launch is almost an invitation to the highlight reel, but not too early, as his athletic prowess and use of strides are most dangerous attacking in space. Most commonly, you'll see off-ball defenders rotate to turn him away at the nail, where he does a good job of kicking it to open shooters on the wing. He's not yet making the more advanced, long-range skip passes, but he does a pretty good job at using those skills as a driver to get deep in the paint and find opportunities in the corner. He's also improved as an interior passer, getting more comfortable with lobs over the top as he pulls rim protectors away from the basket, and utilizing laydowns, where he can manipulate paint defenders into thinking he's looking to score before leaving it for easy offense down low. Creating good looks at the rim is a staple for any great playmaker, as they're the highest value shot in basketball, and he continues to recognize and capitalize on these openings more with every single game. After a blow-by off the catch, many players would see this open man in the corner and instinctively kick it out, but through this traffic, Ant sees a tight window for a higher percentage look, shoveling it at a high speed for an easy lay. He pairs this downhill game with strong off-the-dribble three-point shooting, adding an inside-out dynamic to his attack. He really likes to pull the trigger off of step backs and side steps, where he can leverage the threat of a drive with jabs and hesitations before loading into his shooting motion, or he'll leverage the threat of that shooting to create easier angles for slashing to the basket. He's also capable of stepping right into these off the bounce, regardless of which direction his momentum carries him, which, along with his added passing chops, really unlocks his utility as a ball handler in the pick and roll. Bigs are forced to respect both his pull-up shooting and driving ability, and these coverages have to be executed properly, as he's a master of rejecting screens and exploding into space the opposite way, and splits blitzes or doubles at a very high rate. Zubac meets him at the level here, and without hesitation, he splits right between the two before shedding another help defender with those timely strides. Memphis goes to a more aggressive hedge here, with Clark actually stepping out above the screen, and McDaniels wisely slips, where Ant can hit him with a quick bounce pass. With added in-game reps, his pace in these actions has taken significant strides, playing with a lot more patience and making the correct reads. Adam steps out of the paint to force him into a decision, but he keeps that dribble live while blocking Morant's recovery, allowing Gobert to easily roll right into a lob. This also helps him quite a bit as a scorer. This time in the pick and pop with Cat, he hesitates off the screen to make Turner think he's kicking it back out before exploding into that now open space for a dunk. This one's a bit more advanced. Indiana actually sends a double really early to get the ball out of his hands, but he attacks the big for a potential blow-by that draws a third defender near the basket before slinging a left-handed rocket right down the middle. He's gotten a lot more comfortable using his offhand to make these tougher passes, able to make the same sort of pick-and-roll finds and deliveries going to his left, which adds some more versatility. I still think he can get a bit quicker with his decision making. Off this screen, he draws two defenders, forcing Herter to step over and tag the roller, and although he does make the right find with a left-handed kickout to an open shooter, against tougher defenses, that pass has got to be made a bit earlier. Still, I like the overall patience he's shown in these actions, while still recognizing when it's time to turn on the jets and generate a deep paint touch, this time rejecting the screen and getting Jokic on his hip to draw added help from the corner and taking it all the way to the restricted area before kicking it out to a warm-up jumper. The ability to make plays at higher speeds like this also translates to the open floor, as do his length and athletic prowess. With a head of steam, he's a huge threat to score and really good at pushing the ball right at the defense to free up streaking teammates, which he capitalizes on with some more high velocity passing. That's not to say he isn't still a pretty flawed playmaker with key areas for growth. Before we get into that though, I want to give a quick shout out to Basketball Index for helping with this analysis and the making of this video. If you're not familiar with the site, they provide tons of statistical measurements, tools, and easily accessible graphics to further guide your understanding of the sport. They offer talent grades on pretty much any aspect you can think of, and through their player profiles tab, I can easily compare them to other players around the league. Using Ant's finishing as an example, on this page I'm presented with various metrics detailing his ability to create and make these shots, along with how he stacks up against his peers. This is just one of the many useful tools found on the site that help guide me and many others through their analysis, and by signing up with the code VENUE30, you can get 30% off your first month subscription. I'll leave a link in the description below for anyone interested in signing up, and with that being said, let's take a look at Ant's key areas to improve as a lead offensive player. He does have a tendency to telegraph his passes, which can lead to turnovers in passing lanes. This is a simple pick and pop that actually frees up Reed, but the way he gathers and gets to that delivery is very obvious. This hurts him against more aggressive off-ball defenses, and instead adding a bit more manipulation could really take him to another level. There's also his accuracy as a passer. Sometimes he does everything right, using his live dribble to pressure the defense, recognizing the highest value shot on the floor, and making the right read, but is just off target. This time it's an off-ball action where Ant curls off a pin down towards the middle of the floor, forcing Wood to step out and help, which opens up a lob over the top, and the pass just airmails out of bounds. Straightening out some of these errors to me is the next step for him as a true on-ball engine. Another key area of improvement is his mid-range game, which as of right now is a bit weird. Almost all of the game's best slashers utilize the mid-range as a sort of weapon to fall back on and counter stronger defense, and he still hasn't quite figured that out. It's not just his accuracy from this range, but how he gets into them. Not yet comfortable pulling the trigger at high speeds, but instead looking to get an extra dribble or two under him before shifting his momentum either to his back or to the side. With some added mid-range counters, his productivity as a scorer should climb quite a bit as it becomes easier for him to create quality looks at the rim and from beyond the arc. And with more pressure as a scorer, added manipulation tactics, quicker decision making, and better accuracy as a passer could see him turn into one of the league's most deadly offensive players and a true championship level primary creator. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn my post notifications on to be first on more content. If you're interested in my more in-depth research, make sure to check out my website and social media profiles. You can find those links in the description. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you think of Anthony Edwards and just how good you believe he is. As always, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.